Right, okay, I have here a Xbox Series X controller, Strike Camo Edition. It's mine. It's brand new. It's about 6 months old, and it's got freaking stick drift. Thank you very much, Microsoft. You piece of shit. But Microsoft reckon it's out of warranty, so this must have been sat in a warehouse for God knows how long. Because Microsoft reckon it's out of warranty, which is absolute bull crap. So now we're going to fix it myself, which is rather annoying. But never mind, it is what it is, I suppose. At least I'll get a video out of it. So let's just plug it into the computer. Like so. And, well, I can't even load up the controller tester because it seems to think it's funny to scroll on its own. See? I'm not holding that. I'm not holding that. In fact, I'm over at the other side of the workshop. See? I'm over at the other side of the workshop by the PC. But this thing seems to like scrolling on its own. So, yeah, now I've got to fix the damn thing. I'm going to try and load up the controller tester just so I can show you it in action. I'll unplug that a second. Game controller tester. And now this is going to be a pain to actually connect up. Yeah, so you see here, I'm not even touching that at the minute, and immediately it's off center on the left analog. The right one seems fine, but the left one is a little bit wamboozled, and that I'm trying to turn it all the way, and it won't go. If I press it hard, okay, maybe not. Okay, yeah, so if I pressed in hard, well, there you go. I've let that go. I've let that go. It's just absolutely fooked. I'm turning that all the way around, literally. Genuinely. Turning that all the way around, like this, look. And yeah, this is a brand new controller, basically. I've only used this a handful of times. So, thank you very much, Microsoft. Thank you for creating absolute garbage. Let's fix it. I've got my hot air set at 140 degrees Celsius just to melt the adhesive on this sticker. It really pisses me off when I see controllers with a hole in the middle of it to get to that screw when you can just peel them back. It really is frustrating. But if you do need replacement stickers for controllers, there's a website that sells them. It's called consolefix.shop. And you can get the black or the white ones for both the Xbox Series X white controllers and the coloured ones. No, it's just really frustrating that it's a brand new controller, yet Microsoft are telling me on the website, ow, that it's out of warranty. And that is absolute bullcrap. Ow, hate them things. There we go. I'm going to desolder these wires. And because Microsoft don't colour code them, I'm going to fold, well, they do slightly colour code them, but yeah, just to make it easier on myself, I fold the top one over. There we go. So it's the left analog, that's faulty, which is this one here. So that's that one. What the fuck? This is a fucking refurb. This ain't new. I bought this brand new. Oh, my microscope's going to play up. Yeah, even my camera's mad about it. Even my camera can't look at it. It's disgusted by it. Even my camera's disgusted by it. This ain't new. Fuck you, Microsoft. This ain't new. I bought this brand spanking new. That's just so fucking wrong. Very obviously that's a refurb. And I haven't done any work to this because I don't work on controllers. There's flux on the fucking on the board. Very obviously leaded solder. It's too shiny to be lead free. Way too shiny to be lead free. Genuinely, I have not been inside this controller, and I absolutely guarantee 100% I bought this as brand new from Microsoft. Sorry, from Amazon. And that's what's causing the stick drift. Fuck you, Microsoft, and fuck you, Amazon. Look, I guarantee when I make a video on this, I guarantee there's going to be people in the comments that say, oh no, you've worked on that, blah, 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 you've done this for clickbait and shit. No. Genuinely, on everything I love, I have not touched this controller. I have never been inside this controller, ever. I've never been inside this controller. If I had, then I would have fixed it. That's been replaced as well. That one's been cleaned up. In fact, has it been replaced? I don't know. That don't look like leaded solder. That's a bit too dull. Have I thought about replacing it and then changed the mind? Yeah, I think that could be what's happened here. Someone probably bought it and done a board swap. I genuinely bought this brand spanking new. Or it was supposed to be brand spanking new. Yeah, so apparently this is out of warranty. Apparently. Even though I only bought it 6 months ago. Can you tell that's pissed me off? Look, genuinely, I am absolutely pissed off about that. Right. Let's stop moaning. Let's just see what we can do about fixing it. No, I would never buy a used controller, especially from Amazon, because the cost basically the same as brand new. I bought this brand spanking new. Definitely bought this brand new. Oh, I hate these. I hate these boards. The holes never clear out properly. I end up having to use hot air. In fact, I'm going to do that anyway. I'm just going to use hot air on it. We have a solder sucker. No, don't use a solder sucker on these. Don't use a solder sucker on these, mate. You will have a very bad time when you end up tearing traces. God damn it. The traces on these are like butter. Look, they're absolutely horrible. Genuinely. The traces on these are like butter. They will tear so fast you won't have time to apologise. I'm not joking. No way to hold the board, that's the problem. I don't care about melting this analog, it's not getting put back on. Ugh. Ugh, that stinks. Oh, that's nasty. I need to get a board holder. That's what I need. I need a board holder. Like, not today, I mean like in the coming future. Alright, cool. Rossman was asked to fix someone's personal device. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. That was his. That was his. He was having you all on. He was having you all on, ladies and gents, and you all fell for it. It was his own. Where's the red of this solo? Yeah. Yeah, it was, he admitted it in another video, it was his. He still got it. I hate these boards. This is why I hate controllers. Need to wick the other side, that's the front. It shouldn't matter which side you wick. That's why I just tinned this side as well, just to replace the solder. I will wick the other side as well. I'm just wicking away as much from this side as I can. How much work did it take to get started with your channel? It is basically a full-time job, mate. When you're first getting started. Well, it's not, but it depends on what you want out of it. I will say this. It's going to take you a long time to start getting viewers. Your first 10, 20, 30 videos, you're not going to get any views. But just post them anyway. Because if you don't, then the algorithm's never going to be able to pick up an audience for you. And you'll never get views. Eventually, you'll start seeing views, but it takes a long time. At least, prepare for at least 6 months before you start getting any reasonable amount of views. You get the odd person here and there who will just automatically get views, but most of the time you're not going to get views. Yeah, you can if you promote to your friends. I mean, I didn't. A lot of people do, because they're the ones who are gonna. But if you can rely on your friends to actually watch the videos, and if you can rely on your friends to actually watch the videos regularly, then yeah, great. But I will say this as well: if you get your friends to watch repair content and they don't normally watch repair content, the algorithm eventually will pick up the content and start pushing it to the wrong audience. So unless they watch repair content, assuming if you are doing repair content. So if you are doing repair content, only get your friends that already watch repair content to watch it if you can, because otherwise YouTube's going to be confused with the audience, and then they'll push it to the wrong people, and then that'll just basically snowball, and the people that it's being pushed to won't watch it, and your channel will die, because YouTube will think that your content's shit, basically, if that makes sense. If they push it to the wrong audience and that audience don't watch it, then they're not going to push it to anyone. They'll just ignore it in the algorithm, essentially. I say YouTube, I mean the algorithm, you know, the content recommendation system. Right, I think we finally cleaned all the holes out. Have we? Is that top one clean? I'll find out in a minute. I think it is. Been thinking about getting into it for years. I'll say go for it, mate. It's not going to hurt to try. Just 2 words: be consistent. If you're gonna post regularly. Well, realistically, it don't matter how often you post, as long as there's some sort of consistency there to it. If you want to post once a week, post once a week. Same day, same time. If you want to post 10 times a week, post 10 times a week. Same day, same days, same times. If you only want to post once a month, post once a month, but do it on the same day at the same time. And eventually, the algorithm will kick in and start pushing your content. But it does take time, mate. I'm not going to lie to you. It does take time. It took me at least a year to start seeing results, I would say. One of the issues I had is my channel was already existing and I used to post repair content. So I've made that mistake of not thinking about the algorithm and who it's pushing the content to. All I see is I've got 2,000 subscribers, so I've got a head start. But that wasn't the case, because the people who were subscribed for things like programming content. So I was doomed from the start, really. But eventually the algorithm kicked in and it started picking up who to push it to. Okie dokie, brand new analog. Alright, I've made sure that the board is clean enough before I solder it. And I'm not going to use flux for this. Say brand new analog. These analogs always have a bent freaking pin. There you go. I'm not going to use flux for this. It's through hole components, so it should be okay. But I don't want any flux getting inside the actual analog itself. So all I'm going to do is use the flux that's inside the solder. That's the good thing about using a flux core solder. You don't need flux for through hole components, as long as you know how to solder through hole components. Which is why I don't understand why whoever's attempted to refurb this has used flux. The trick to through hole components is to heat the pad and the pin at the same time, and then the solder will flow. Like this, look. See? Pin plus pad. Heat them all up. Solder. And you don't want to put the solder on the tip of your iron either, because all you're going to do is burn the flux away. Heat the pad. Heat the pin. Flow the solder. Simple, really. Pad, pin, flow. And by doing it this way, I'm not getting any contaminants inside the analog itself, which means you're not going to have that issue that we've had just. Fixed my first TV at 12 years old. Nice. I was stripping them down at about 4 years old, I think. I used to break everything apart to see what it looked like inside. I used to love it. My dad was a TV technician as well. So yeah, there is a trick to through all components, but it's not difficult. I'll try and show you an example of how not to solder a through hole component. I don't want to jeopardize it too much, but what I see a lot of people doing is they're like, oh yeah, let's just tin that, and then before you've even got to that, your flux is gone. So then you end up with cold solder joints, and then they're sitting there and they're trying to transfer the solder like this. Like, it's never going to work. Look, it's never going to work. You're going to end up with either no solder on the pin or cold solder joints. But there's flux inside the solder itself. You don't need to add flux for through hole components. The camera going again. Ah, damn it. Well, right, let's try it again then. So yeah, a lot of people, they'll put solder, and this is the same solder I'm using. They'll put solder on the iron. Oh, why ain't it sticking? Why ain't it sticking? Help! Oh no, why is my solder joint cold? Like, why have I got a cracked solder joint? Why is it shit? Because you burnt all the flux away before you've even soldered it, mate. That's why. That's why. You burnt all the flux away before you've even soldered it. Right. I'm not going to clean that up. Well, I mean, I will, but I'm not going to flood it with IPA. I'm just going to give it a scrub with a dry cotton swab. The flux that's inside the solder, so because I haven't used, you know, any kind of additional flux, actually I could do with a tiny bit of IPA, just a tiny bit. But because I haven't used any additional flux, I know that the flux that's inside the solder is no clean. It doesn't need cleaning up. Use a tiny bit of IPA just to get rid of some of the residue. But it's not important. It's no clean flux. It's not going to hurt the board in the slightest. So, a very slightly wet cotton swab and just clean as best I can. I'm not worried about the flux. I'm not worried about cleaning it up. Old military Morse code communications terminal. Nice. That sounds awesome. But you look at those joints, considering I haven't used any flux with it. You look at these solder joints, if I zoom in. That is the definition of a perfect solder joint. I'm not saying that to float my own boat or anything like that, but that's the definition of a perfect solder joint. No flux needed. Just use the flux that's inside the solder. And that is how you get, well, especially on controllers where it's sensitive to debris and stuff, that's how you're meant to do it. You're not meant to use flux. Because otherwise you just end up with contaminants inside the new analog stick and you end up right back at square one. If you look at a piece of solder, I'll just get it in focus, like so. So this is Kester solder. Kester 6040 leaded solder. If you look, I'm not sure if I'll be able to see this. No, you can't see it, but there is one way I can show you. Yeah, exactly, Dream, yeah, cut it. One way I can show you. Cut this on an angle, like so. Yeah, there you go. You can see the flux core. Can you see it? Can you see it? Just there. A nice flux core. And that is why you don't need flux. Just inside that little void there. But yeah, that's one thing that I see people doing a lot, and it's the one thing I keep telling people. Don't use flux on a controller. The analogs are sensitive. Very, very sensitive. And you will end up with drifting analogs again. Maybe not straight away. Well, mind you, I mean, you're going to end up with drifting analogs again regardless. But if you're doing these for example, for a customer, like, it's not so bad if you're doing it for yourself. Like this, for me, if I get stick drift in a month, I could fix it again myself. But if you do it for a customer and that customer ends up getting stick drift in a month because you've got a little bit of flux inside the connector, inside the analog, they're going to be pissed. And not only are you going to have to do it under warranty, they're not going to come back to you in the future. Right, start testing. Perfect. Spot on. That one could do with being replaced, to be honest. Should have probably replaced that one at the same time, but that is absolutely dead on. %100%. And that is how you replace an analog. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. That is how you fix a controller, Microsoft. None of that half-ass shit that you lot do. Yeah, anyway. Right. I'm going to leave it there. That's it. I'm done. Microsoft, you absolutely suck. Independent techs are better than the manufacturer. Mic drop.